Hello and welcome into another edition of State of the Sun Devils alongside Jesse Morrison and Damon Allred. I'm Jeremy Schnell. So, tough loss for ASU on Saturday. They went into Cincinnati and came out with a loss. Not what ASU was hoping for after a big win over Utah. Let's get into this a little bit, guys. It wasn't... It was Jeff Sims' first start for ASU. It wasn't great, but it wasn't the reason why they lost, Damon.
No, I think it kind of started with the missed opportunities in the first half, starting with the Cam Scadaboo's first fumble of the season, and then the fourth down decisions that followed, going for it in your own territory a few times. It gave Cincinnati a short field, and really Cincinnati scored all three of those times. And the only other score that they had came on the breakaway run by Evan Pryor, which, I mean, how many of those have we seen this year from the ASU defense where they just give up a huge play like that? It has been pretty uncharacteristic, I think it's fair to say. But yeah, what did you think, Jesse, about why that game played out the way it did?
I think that I agree with you on those 2 points for sure. And then I also think that Jeff wasn't very good. Like, I don't think Jeff was the reason they lost, but he didn't really help their cause is kind of my stance on it. Like, he's clearly not as good of a runner as Sam, and he's clearly not as... He's like... it's a big drop-off when it comes to throwing the ball, and it just didn't seem like they were going to just run the same offense, I guess, with Jeff that they would run with Sam. And so I feel like if they had had Sam, there would have been a much better chance they win this game. I don't know if they do win the game, but I do think that a lot of it does fall on Jeff. And then I've got to talk about the kicking game too, which we can get into now.
Atrocious.
It was bad. And
Nice quoting Kenny there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I know that.
Kenny's words. Atrocious.
Yeah, I know that Kenny talked about it after the game, and then he apologized. I understand why he apologized. He probably shouldn't have said that.
It went viral.
Yes, it did. He went viral for the second straight week.
Viral quite a few times this season now.
Yeah, so I don't think he should have said that because, again, it really is singling out the one player.
What is this, Pop Warner?
No, but
Cook.
But he should have been, it was not, you don't call out one player, especially at the college level. And
Jesse, when I was in high school, my coach told me when I was terrible.
That's telling you, that's not telling the media.
I would have been fine with it.
Really, Jeremy? I know you well enough to know that you would not have been fine with them publicly calling you out. That's some BS if I've ever heard it.
So we can say by this point in Wednesday, tryouts have taken place. We will not hear from the team if a new kicker has been brought on until next week when we go to practice and see. But by this point, there has been tryouts.
I have a prediction.
Tryouts did take place even with the profuse apologies that Kenny had.
I want to say this because you just said that. Kenny was 100% right. He just shouldn't have said it. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
Because, yes, the kicking game was atrocious. Everybody can see it. Like, people,
4th and 10 on Cincy's. 4th and 10 on Cincy's 23. He missed it.
Yeah, you've got to make that field goal at this level.
The ASU kickers, by the way, this season are 3 of 9 on kicks of at least 30 yards.
Yeah,
you want to hear
at least 30 yards? That's like 30 yards
terrible.
should be a chip shot.
Yeah.
You want to hear my prediction?
What?
Hershey is the starting kicker still next Saturday.
I wouldn't be totally surprised. Kenny has talked about, it would take someone being good enough to replace Ian in the depth chart and on the roster, really. But it's gotta get better either way. Whether it took this kicking Ian in the rear end a little bit to give him some motivation, or whether it's going to be a different guy, it needs to get better regardless.
I know you said, Damon, that he hasn't looked great in practice, but I would like to potentially see Parker Lewis go out there and do it. I mean, he's got a big leg, at least, and I think that's a big struggle for the ASU kickers right now is just lack of leg. I mean, they have legs, obviously, but lack of strength in leg.
Thank you. Thank you for clarifying that.
I figured I needed to clarify it. You know, they're not out there with like a peg leg trying to, like a pirate. You know.
Yeah. Thank you. Anyway, here's what I'll say. I think Hershey's probably going to be the kicker come Oklahoma State week. And it's going to take a lot. Listen, these kids that we're seeing, good on them on coming to try out and posting those videos. Have you seen a pass rush or a kick rush in any of those videos?
It's a good point.
No.
Kicking on air is a lot different.
With one of those little tees that holds it for you.
Yeah.
Kicking with a snap, kicking with a rush.
Timing.
Yeah.
Timing is something that is all ironed out in preseason football.
I do want to get your guys' thoughts, though, going back on like Jeff Sims' performance. I feel like you guys didn't say that. Say your thoughts enough.
I think that...
Are you hosting the show now?
No, I feel like we kind of glazed over it.
I think that the passing wasn't as bad as I expected it to be, but I also think that Kenny very clearly, or Marcus Arroyo, didn't trust Sims enough to let it happen a lot. Only 6 attempts in the first half.
The third and long draw plays, QB draw plays, really irked me. I didn't like that.
It means that they don't
trust his arm.
Yeah,
it's very clear.
And if you don't trust the quarterback's arm, why is he on the field?
Yeah,
Right.
that's what I thought. Like at some point you've got to potentially go to Trenton. Like,
They ran the QB draw twice on third and long. And I'm sitting in the airport watching this game, and I say out loud to nobody in particular, why are they running a QB draw on third and long in their own territory? It's not like they're gonna, if they get like 5 yards on the play, they're gonna think about going for it or getting into
Kenny
better.
Gillingham,
But like it's not like they're getting into better field goal position, especially with this kicking game.
Yeah, it just showed that they don't trust him, and
I think that was a big indicator of how they feel about their quarterback.
Yeah, and
number two.
I do kind of get the sense that Kenny wants to play his guys, and like Jeff is his guy. Trenton's not his guy. Was here before Kenny got here. But like my thought about that too is like, would Trenton get the 10 yards there? Probably not. So, you know, it would be dinking and dunking down the middle of the field. I do think he would have been a little bit more accurate, but I don't think. I mean, I think that the best option here is to get your starting quarterback back. That's the best option.
But where is like even run like a scat screen, like a screen to Scataboo on third and long. And
on
speaking
of
of that,
fourth down, that was like 4th and 7. They threw a screen to Scat, and I'm just like, what are you doing? That's not going to get a fourth down.
But on third down, you should run like if you don't trust that he can throw it to the sticks, throw it to Scataboo. See what happens. He's your best player on offense this season. Besides, I guess you could.
He's the best player on offense.
Yeah,
there's hands down the best player on offense. There's no other person that's best player.
Leaf Fautanu erasure.
I mean, yeah, a playmaker, skill position.
Just kidding. Yeah, go
skill
ahead.
position player. No, but that actually takes me to my next point, Jeremy, which is
you're welcome.
When Scat doesn't go off, he had a fine game, but when he doesn't have like 150 yards, it seems like this team really struggles. You saw they ended up pulling out that Texas State win, but they probably wouldn't have if it was a P4 school. And he wasn't great in that game.
Which we can say he stepped up big fourth quarter in that game and made some big runs when it counted.
But like he was not that great the other day, and he wasn't that good against Texas Tech.
And it's tough when a defense can totally lock in on you and not the passing game at all. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think Cincinnati's a good team too. We're not giving them enough credit.
Right. Yeah, Cincinnati's really good.
But I would like ASU to figure out a way to win if Scat is taken away. I would maybe like to see them, switch up the running backs a little bit more, rotate them in. I'd like to see Kyson Brown more.
Kenny said today, Kyson, he wants to get going more in the back half.
Like, I mean, I don't know.
He had a couple great runs against Cincinnati.
I'm like, this is not reporting or anything. We haven't been told this, whatever. Like, I don't know if Raleek Brown's going to be back. Like, I would like to see him back, but, he's just not been able to stay on the field. And so trust a guy that's
finally beat Utah, though.
Yeah, that's true.
He tweeted that.
He tweeted, I finally beat Utah and didn't play in the game. But yeah, I think that they've got to go to, Kyson Brown, because Los is fine, but I don't think he should get like 10 carries in a game.
I like Jason Brown a lot. You know that.
Yeah, he's played one game.
Running hard in practice.
Yeah.
He's played one game. So I think Kyson Brown is the guy that, like, if Scat's not going, the other team's not going to, like, really game plan for Kyson Brown getting 10 carries.
Here, before we move on to our next topic, and we're going to do our men's and women's basketball preview podcast right now on this episode.
Yep.
You should stick around for that because we have a lot to say, and this men's team is really exciting, and a lot unknown on the women's team, and we're going to try and get you up to date on that team. But in terms of this team moving forward for the football team, guys, still one more win to go to get to bowl eligibility, but some of the projections are saying that they might play Alabama in a bowl game, and that would be pretty awesome, I would think, for this program to get to a place where they can play the school that has been the best school in college football in the past 10, 15 years.
Yeah, Alabama would be that'd be a huge game for ASU. I'd hope that players wouldn't opt out for that game just because that's a step in the program, and I would feel like players, I guess, who care about Arizona State should care that how big of a step that is for the program. I've also seen Boise State again. They haven't been Alabama, but they're
Scatterboo versus Genty
yeah,
Bowl.
that'd be.
But
that'd be great.
I think Boise State's probably going to make the playoff at this point, though.
Yeah, but there's Army Navy too right now in the.
Yeah, they'll both lose to Notre Dame.
Okay, I don't know
And
about
they can't
that.
both win out.
Yes, because they play each other.
Yeah,
but they also
could play each other twice.
But they play each other. Yes, if they play in
back-to-back weeks
in the championship game.
Yep.
But the second game would be after bowl selection.
Also, I would like to make another note about the quarterback thing. I just hope that people have gained a newfound appreciation for how good Sam is, as young as he is, at leading this team.
Yeah.
He's only a redshirt freshman.
Yeah.
Stay healthy. Get down. Figure out how to not get hurt.
Get with Willie Bloomquist.
And he was
yes, exactly.
he was in good spirits today at practice, so it was nice to see that. He was messing around with one of the medicine balls they use to throw at receivers, during drills and stuff. So it was nice to see him involved and engaged.
Also, I don't know if I should encourage this, but blue juice.
Jesse.
What? Well,
Because Wolf
talks about it all the time.
Wolf played in the NFL, he can say that. You did not.
But I'm just quoting him. Blue juice. And
Anyway.
he didn't say it about Sam, but
We
he
can move
says
on
it
to
about a lot of
basketball
guys.
now.
Okay. Anyway, we got some basketball stuff to talk about. Damon, this is your expertise, I would say. Not that you're not an expert on this ASU football team, because you are at almost every single practice.
Thank you.
But men's basketball is your bread and butter. Women's basketball is Jesse's bread and butter. I want to talk to you guys about both these teams. The Duke exhibition game is coming up for the men's team. That's Sunday at 4 p.m. on the ACC network. And then the regular season opener is 2 Tuesdays after that. So it's going to be November 5th at DFA, hosting Idaho State. Big matchup, one that we've all been waiting this whole summer for. But it's all about the incoming freshmen. It's about Josan Sanan and Jaden Quinance.
Quinance, yeah.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah.
You got
That was pretty much there.
Yeah, you're there.
So I'm really excited for this Duke exhibition. I would be lying if I said I have been this excited about an ASU basketball game in quite a while. It's, to me, the biggest part of it, not only Bobby Hurley going back to Cameron Indoor. To me, it's about these top 10 freshmen. Jaden Quinance going against Cooper Flagg.
What about the money that they're going to raise for charity, Damon?
Well, that is also very big. Duke Children's Hospital, I'm sure, will be very thankful for the money that's going to come in from this.
I'm sorry, I had to do that.
Yeah,
I didn't mean it.
I've heard it's been sold out already. The only thing left is some NIL packages through ASU. So if you're interested in shelling out a little bit, there's your opportunity to get in. But really, Quinance going against Cooper Flagg. Flagg is, to me, the no doubt number one pick in a very loaded NBA draft class. Quinance obviously is not going to be eligible for this draft class because of his age. He just turned 17 in July, but for them two to go up against each other, both with history, USA basketball, they've each won a gold medal with the junior national teams. Separate national teams, funny enough. It's a fun story about, like, Flag was 15 playing on the U17 World Cup team.
Yeah.
It was just ridiculous. And then Quinense the next year
Did you
was on the
see
U16 American
Brian
team.
Scalabrine talk about him the other day?
I did not.
So he was talking about how when he was 13 or 14 years old, he brought him into like a college camp and he was just dominating these kids.
Yeah, he's insane. I was really impressed at how far his offense has come along already. Like, I was expecting him to be more of a defensive guy at this point, but he could totally tear ASU apart in this scrimmage.
Probably will.
Exhibition.
Probably will. I mean, he made shots over Anthony Davis in the USA basketball camp. So.
Right, yeah, Team USA select team. But yeah, beyond that Duke game, there's kind of a loaded...
Can I say something on the Duke game real quick?
Yeah.
I do think ASU's probably going to get crushed in this game. It doesn't matter. It's an exhibition. But I think it is a good game to watch as far as like seeing how good Quinense and Sanan are against Cooper Flag. Like, just to kind of see how good this team could be. I think I'm glad that they're doing these open exhibitions now because you can kind of get more of a gauge on the team before the season starts.
Ball movement.
And yeah, ball movement's gotta happen, but we'll get into that. But I just, I think we'll get to see how like much of a drop off there is from a Cooper Flag to Jaden and Josan in this game. So I think that'll be a reason for tuning in for sure.
Damon, what do you think of first year in Big 12?
I'm super excited. The Big 12 had 5 of the top 10 teams in the preseason AP poll, which I don't think that's ever happened, where one conference has had half the top 10.
ASU received votes.
ASU got some votes. One fewer vote than GCU got, so that November 14th matchup at Footprint Center is going to be a matchup of 2 teams that got preseason AP votes. Obviously, GCU coming off a much more successful season than ASU is, but ASU has kind of injected a lot of talent. That matchup on November 14th at Footprint is going to include the women as well, so if you guys can get out to that is going to be very, like a cool day for just Valley college basketball, and it would be great if some Sun Devils could show up and kind of not let the Havocs totally outnumber them like they have in past matchups. Yeah,
GCU fans like to talk a big game about how they're the better crowd in this city, but not factoring in the fact that their arena is half the size of Arizona State's, and so if ASU would basically sell out every single game at GCU. So this would be.
So are you? Do you want ASU men's and women's basketball to play at Mullet? Is that what you're asking?
No. But if they did, they'd sell it out. Or at least the men's team would. The men's team would. But so I think this is a great opportunity on November 14th for ASU fans to go and show who the actual large college and important school that matters in this city is.
Nice.
Damon, let's move to what you expect the rotations to look like for this ASU men's team.
Yeah. So there's the what I would do rotation that I've gotten listed down. I've got a starting lineup of Alston Mason, who is a legacy Sun Devil. His dad played point guard at ASU around the turn of the century. It's cool that he's coming back. He's talked about that being a big reason why he chose ASU in the transfer portal out of Missouri State. Adam Miller is obviously one of the biggest returners on this team. He has been an incredible leader in practice from what I've seen already. We talked about Josan Sanan already. He would be my 3. And then Bashir Jihad, who is a huge, huge transfer out of Ball State. Bobby talked today on Big 12 Media Day about Bashir being a guy who, Bobby coached in the MAC. He says that the best players in that conference can translate to the Big 12 just okay. And he grouped Bashir in that mold. And then Quinense would be my starting center. And then off the bench, you have Austin Nunez, the prodigal son returns. You got B.J. Freeman transferring from University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. He averaged 21 points last year, so he'd be a good microwave scorer off the bench. another freshman, Amir Ali, who I think is really, really a good shooter at his size, 6'8", 6'9". Then Brandon Gardner, a transfer from USC, is also in there. Sean Phillips Jr. being the other big returner. And then Bryson Long, given some shooting injection as well. He should be more healthy this season after he dealt with a pretty weird issue last year.
You'll probably see Phillips as the 6th or 7th man, just to, play Quinen's in the 4 a little bit as well.
Mm-hmm.
Play him, in a more playmaker position.
Right.
I think Phillips is going to play a big role on this team. They need the size, and especially in this new conference.
I hope he steps up, though. That's the thing. Like last year, there were times where he was really good and really effective, and there are times that you thought he shouldn't be on the court. Like, so, consistency is a big thing with him, I think. And then just this entire team. That's going to be huge with me. Can they be consistent? And what you said with the ball movement. Can they move the ball on, most games? Can they run a good set offense? Can Bobby kind of change a little bit in order to really make these players succeed? And is he going to actually rely on the freshmen? Because we've seen in the past that he ends up not relying on pretty talented freshmen, and then
never this talented though.
Yeah,
to be fair.
Yeah, never this talented.
Remy Martin was the last freshman that he really relied on.
Yeah, and he was going to rely on Josh Christopher, but he played like 10 games.
I guess Bagley too.
Yeah, and Bagley, but yeah. So I really want to see these freshmen, but I'm even talking about down to like an Amir Ali. Like, I really want to see them play because I think they're the best guys on this team. Minus maybe an Adam Miller.
In terms of the guard rotation, do you expect Sanan to play 2 and 1 as well, rather other than 3? Adam Miller, I would think, would probably play a little bit of 3 as well.
I think if we're comparing the two, I think Adam's going to play a little bit more point guard than Josan does. I think Josan is best used as a scorer who leverages his scoring to playmake at times rather than a guy who does the opposite and leverages the playmaking into scoring. I've really been impressed with Josan's vision at the practice that I've been to. There was a play where he was curling all over the place trying to look for his own bucket, and then when he got into the right situation, he went up for a shot and then still was able to dish out to Bryson Long for a 3. And so I think he's pretty far ahead of where you might expect his playmaking to be, but I think he's definitely best served as a scorer.
So much unknown with this team coming into this season.
Every year it feels like.
But it's difficult this year. There's so many new guys, so many young guys that you don't know what you're going to get out of them. It's hard to make a prediction, but we're going to do it. I think this team should make the tournament. They shouldn't be in Dayton this time. They should be a solidified tournament team when it comes to Selection Sunday.
What will they do, though? You're saying should.
Yes, I think they will.
Okay.
They should.
Okay. Well, what's your prediction? Are they what's the seed? Where will they go? Yeah.
7 seed.
Okay, and then when will they get eliminated?
In the first round.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Do you want me to go?
Yeah.
And then Damon?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think that ASU is going to be really good this year, actually. And I think that they're going to be the best they've been under Bobby Hurley. This recruiting class is awesome. Damon's shown me highlights of these guys. I know it's high school, but they look really good. They have the returners that I wanted to see come back. And so, yeah, I think that they end up being a 5 seed and they end up getting at least to the Sweet 16.
Sweet 16?
Yep, that's how I feel about this team. I think they will be really good.
The returners that you want, except for Frankie Collins, whose homecoming will come on February 15th when TCU comes.
That's true, but I
like the young guys.
They're
turning to the young guys.
Yeah, I don't know if they need Frankie Collins anymore.
My prediction is just that this will be the most aesthetically watchable team that Bobby Hurley has ever had.
Please.
And that they're going to finish in the upper half of the Big 12. Make the tournament, do some stuff.
Love
What
it.
seed do you think? Give me a seed.
I guess if they're top half of the Big 12, that's probably good enough for a 5 or 6 seed. And to me, that's a Sweet 16.
Cool.
Okay.
All right, women's team.
Yeah, we got 5 minutes left.
Okay.
Give me your stuff, Jesse.
I will go quick then. They are picked to finish 15th out of 16 in the Big 12 this
Not
year.
good.
This is the third year of Natasha Adair, and this is a big year for Natasha Adair. I think personally in staying here at Arizona State. They've got to do some stuff, and they've got to be better than 15th. They have a very weak non-conference schedule, except they do play Kentucky. Kentucky's gotten a lot better. They have a new head coach, Kenny Brooks, who's at Virginia Tech, led them to a Final Four a couple years ago. They're bringing in Georgia Amore as well, who was on Virginia Tech.
Virginia Tech?
Yeah.
Okay.
They were in the Final Four. And
No, I just am shocked you're not pointing out some hokey thing.
no, I'm just talking about how it's a no. So yeah, they brought in Georgia Amore. Yes, I'm from close to Blacksburg. Yes,
Yeah, there we go.
There you go.
There you go. But yeah, Georgia Amore was a really good player for Virginia Tech. That's going to be there in a Thanksgiving Classic in Nashville during Thanksgiving week. So that's the one non-conference game to watch. And then Big 12 conference is really lauded for men's, but I think it's very underrated for women's. I was going through the AP poll last night, getting ready for this podcast, and I was like, oh, Big 12, Big 12. Oh, another Big 12. Oh, others receiving votes, Big 12. Their schedule is insane.
Yeah.
So they got Utah to open conference play on December 21st. Utah received votes. They've number 8 Iowa State and Audie Crooks. Audie Crooks, very good player. Watch her this year. One of my favorite players in college basketball.
And she was only a freshman last year.
Yeah, only a freshman last year, so the ASU's got to deal with her for 3 years. I don't see her transferring. That's on January 8th. And then back-to-back, they play Baylor.
Number 12.
Yeah. So
Kansas State, number 13.
yeah, Kansas State, number 13 on January 19th. And then again, another back-to-back where they play 16th ranked West Virginia on January 22nd. U of A games will be... U of A, who knows? They're pretty close to a Final Four run themselves, and they so February 8th at U of A, March 1st for at home. That's going to be the last game of the season for ASU, and then they play Utah again on February 15th, and then Haley Van Lith, if you remember her from LSU and Louisville, she's in the Big 12 now with TCU. And they played them, who, they received votes as well on February 19th. So this is a very tough schedule for this women's team. But they do have some reinforcements coming back. Ty Skinner missed all of last year. She was their leading scorer in the 22-23 season with 19 points a game. So they have her back. And then they have their leading scorer from last year back, Jalen Brown, who averaged about 17 points a game last year. So they're both kind of volume players, shoot around 36 to 39%.
They need to tie that up. They need to try and shoot the ball better this season. There were games where they couldn't find the basket and they scored 20 points in a game. Like it was
in a half. I don't know if they ever scored 20 points last year, but they need to shoot the ball better. They need to not have cold stretches this season, but it's good to have Ty back. She's an experienced player, good leader on the floor. And then after that, the roster's kind of like the men's team, very just kind of unknown. They're bringing in Kennedy Basham. She's from the Phoenix area, went to PHH Prep. She's 6'7", played at Oregon, but her numbers were 5 points, 4 rebounds last year. So who knows about her? She brings a lot of size, but so far not great numbers. So we'll see how she does. And then a couple players that have Big 12 experience, kind of. Kennedy Fauntleroy played 5 games for Oklahoma State last year. And then Jezion Jackson, she was at Texas Tech last year but didn't play at all. So, I mean, she's been around Big 12 basketball. She hasn't played in Big 12 basketball. So we'll see if she can add anything. And then a couple players I think that need to step up. I think Mallory Miller needs to step up. She came in last year. And then Maggie Besselink's health. She's such a good rebounder. If she can stay healthy, she's back. Maybe then they can do better, because rebounding size, they just haven't had enough of that the past 2 years. And hopefully, Basham can help them get better and Besselink can stay healthy and they rebound better. But I don't have that big of hopes for this team. What about you guys?
I hope they stay around 500. That's what I hope.
Okay.
Can they? It's tough. It's a tough conference, like you were saying. I mean, you went through the schedule. It's a lot of teams that are ranked. Can they stick around 500? Can they win the games that they're not supposed to win? This is a big year for Coach A and this team. And can, you really judge a coach on their fourth season. Their third season is like, all right, got to start making their way up the ladder a little bit. Then the fourth season is like, all right, you had a full recruiting class from high school. What are they looking like? These next 2 years are huge, and we'll see what this team can do. I think that they're going to be a little below 500, maybe 2 or 3 games under 500. I think they score better this year with Ty Skinner back. We'll see.
I think having a bucket getter like Ty Skinner is always huge for teams, just to have someone that you can go to and say, help the offense out here. I think Basham has done a lot for the vibes of the team already. She's doing quite a few media appearances, and I think that everything that she's shows that she's bought into the culture. And I'm just hoping to see at least 4 wins in conference, which Coach A has not yet done. So I'm hoping for that 4 wins in conference mark.
Yeah, I mean, I see them kind of being around where they were the past couple of years. And they got a little bit better last year, but I just want to see them be like a little bit more intense. I want to see them get back. And I know that Coach A is different from Charlie, but like I kind of want to see them get back to just like, the thing about those teams with Charlie was they were just like hard-nosed, gritty teams. And I just want to see some of that grit back. I want to see some of that fire back in this team. And yeah, so I mean, I don't think they will make the tournament or anything. So that's my prediction.
That's going to do it for this edition of State of the Sun Devils. Thank you so much for listening and watching. You can find almost every single episode on the Arizona Sports YouTube channel. You can also find it wherever you get your podcasts. Damon, all his articles on arizonasports.com and the Arizona Sports app. And you can also follow us on social media at AZ Sports Devils, including Threads, Jesse.
We have Threads?
Yeah, we do. Anyway, thank you so much for listening and watching, and we will talk to you soon.